In Umu-Anya, people used Ogechi's name the way they used proverbs. If God wants to bless a woman, the elders would say, he gives her a husband like Umu-Anya and a wife like Ogechi. She was the orphan who married well. No mother to boast for her, no father to negotiate her bride price with pride. Yet she walked through the village like royalty. Her wrappers were always expensive, heavy with patterns that shimmered in the sun. Her skin glowed, her smile never trembled, and whenever Umu-Anya passed, she lowered her eyes and praised him loudly so all could hear. My husband is my crown, she would say. A good man is better than gold. Women listened and swallowed envy like bitter cola. They saw how Umu-Anya bought her gifts, how he held her hand in public, how he laughed loudly and called her Nwanyem Oma, my good wife. What they did not see were the locked doors. Behind those doors, love had teeth. When the night grew quiet and the lamps went out, Umu-Anya's voice changed. His hands, once gentle before the world, became lessons written on Ogechi's skin. Silence became her shield. Endurance became her daily prayer. And still she wore her wrapper. Still she smiled. Still she praised him. Because an orphan learns early. The world listens only to beauty and success, not to pain. So Ogechi survived by performance. Then came Iphigenia. Iphigenia was the kind of woman who measured her worth by what others had. A desperate heart wrapped in loud laughter. She watched Ogechi from afar, counting every smile, every wrapper, every public praise like debts she believed life owed her. That woman is lucky, Iphigenia hissed one afternoon. Some people don't know what they're enjoying. She did not know she was admiring a cage made of gold. Slowly, like a thief learning the rhythm of a house, Iphigenia began to circle Umu-Anya. Compliments first, sympathy next. Admiration poured like palm wine. She fed his ego until it grew fat and restless. And Ogechi noticed. She noticed the lingering glances, the sudden arguments, the way Obina's anger now arrived faster. He had somewhere else to go. That was when Ogechi made a decision. She did not cry. She did not fight. She did not expose him. Instead, she praised him more. Louder. Sweeter. Publicly. She made the prison look even more like paradise. When Obina finally announced, without shame, that he wanted her to pack out, the village gasped. How could a man send away such a good wife? Ogechi only bowed her head. She packed no furniture. She took no wrapper. She picked a small cloth, tied a few old coins inside it, and walked away, far, far from Umu-Anya. People whispered, poor orphan. They pitied her. But as Ogechi disappeared down the dusty road, she allowed herself one small smile, because the golden cage was now empty, and Iphigenia had just stepped inside. Iphigenia entered Ogechi's former home like a conqueror. She arrived in loud wrappers and louder laughter, greeting the same neighbors who once envied Ogechi. She made sure to walk slowly to let everyone see her. Let them choke on it. So this is the house of luck, she said, running her hand across the walls. It suits me better. Umu-Anya watched her with a satisfied smile. A new audience. A fresh mirror for his ego. He spent money freely those first days, buying her gifts, parading her in public, calling her Nwanyem with pride. Iphigenia drank it all like sweet wine. She mocked Ogechi openly. Some women don't know how to keep a husband, she said. Maybe she was too quiet. Men don't like dull wives. The women laughed nervously. Some nodded. Envy still lived among them. But the house was different. The first night, Iphigenia noticed it. The silence did not rest. Pressed against the walls, heavy, watchful. Even when Umu-Anya slept, the room felt awake. The air carried old echoes. Unshed tears, swallowed screams, prayers whispered into pillows. She shook it off. New wife, new beginning, she told herself. Then came the first correction. It was small. Tone too sharp. Food not hot enough. A question asked one time too many. Umu-Anya's smile vanished, replaced by that same cold calm Ogechi had learned to fear. Iphigenia, he said quietly, Don't ever raise your voice in this house. The slap came before the sentence ended. Iphigenia froze. Shock flooded her face. Not pain, but disbelief. He apologized immediately, bought her jewelry the next morning, laughed loudly in public, held her hand tighter than before. This is love, he said. You just need to understand me. Understanding arrived quickly. The slaps became lessons. The lessons became beatings. The beatings became routine. And suddenly, Ogechi's constant praises began to make sense. Iphigenia stopped laughing in public. She started wearing longer wrappers. Her voice softened. At night, she cried, loudly. But unlike Ogechi, she had no strategy, only regret. One evening, as she scrubbed the floor with shaking hands, she noticed something strange behind the bedroom door. A faint scratch mark on the wall. Beneath it, barely visible, a line etched with something sharp. Endure. Watch. Leave alive. Her heart dropped. Ogechi had been here. Ogechi had survived. And Ogechi had planned. Iphigenia understood then. She had not stolen a marriage. She had replaced a victim. And somewhere far away, with only a few coins and her freedom, Ogechi was breathing without fear for the first time. The house that once glittered now showed its teeth. And the silence had finally found a new voice. Far from Umu-Anya, where no one knew her name or her story, Ogechi arrived in a town where the road split into many futures. She rented a small room with the few coins she carried. Coins that once rattled like shame in her palm, but now sounded like freedom. For the first time in years, she slept without listening for footsteps. No shouting, no sudden anger. She spoke little, watched much, and learned again how to breathe. Her back healed. Her smile returned, not the practiced one, but the kind that reaches the eyes. In the evenings, she counted her coins carefully. Each one was a step away from fear. Back in Umu-Anya, the house was collapsing without noise. Iphigenia's beauty faded quickly. Bruises replaced jewelry. Fear replaced laughter. The neighbors noticed. How could they not? The same people who once envied Ogechi now whispered, "She doesn't look well. Marriage is not what it seems." Maybe Ogechi endured more than we knew, but Iphigenia could not endure. She fought back. One night, she screamed. She threatened to expose Umu-Anya. She called him a monster. He laughed. "You think anyone will believe you?" he said calmly. Did they believe the first one? That night, Iphigenia ran, barefoot, crying, bleeding, into the same road Ogechi had once walked in silence. Only this time the village saw. Shame fell on Umu-Anya like dust. Slowly, heavily, the praises stopped. The greetings grew cold. A man feared more than judgment is exposure, and Obina's name began to rot. Months later, fate tightened its circle. Ogechi returned to Umu-Anya, not as a wife, not as an orphan begging for pity, but as a trader with her own small business. She walked with quiet confidence, her wrapper simple but clean, her eyes clear. People stared. Iphigenia saw her first. Their eyes met. No words passed between them. None were needed. Iphigenia looked away, carrying the weight of a lesson she paid for with blood. Umu-Anya did not approach Ogechi. He could not. The power he once had over her was gone. Buried the day she walked away with only coins and courage. That evening, an elder spoke softly to the gathered women. Not all that glitters is gold. Some shine to hide poison. And Ogechi, once a prisoner in a golden cage, went home to sleep in peace. Free. Time passed in Umu-Anya, and stories settled the way dust does. Slowly on everyone. Umu-Anya's house no longer attracted envy. It stood like a warning. Men greeted him carefully. Women avoided his gate. The laughter that once followed him had dried up, replaced by heavy silence. A man whose true face is exposed never recovers his shadow. Iphigenia left the village soon after. Some said she returned to her people in shame. Others said she swore never to admire another woman's life again. No one asked her questions. Pain teaches best when it is not explained. Ogechi, on the other hand, became something rare, a woman at peace. She never spoke badly of her past. She never exposed Obinna publicly. She simply lived well. And in African wisdom, living well is the loudest revenge. Young women began to watch her differently. They noticed how she chose silence carefully now, not as fear, but as strength. How she warned them gently, "Do not envy what you cannot see clearly. Some homes shine because darkness lives inside." The elders turned her story into a proverb. A woman who praises her husband loudly may be protecting her life. And another, when a wife leaves with only coins, she has taken the most valuable thing, her breath. From then on, when someone admired another woman's marriage too loudly, the old ones would shake their heads and say, "Not all that glitters is gold," because one woman's paradise can be another woman's prison. And sometimes, the smartest escape is not a fight, not a scream, but a quiet walk away. Ogechi never returned to that house. She didn't need to. She had already won. A woman's peace is more valuable than luxury. Fine wrappers, big houses, and public affection mean nothing where fear lives. Envy is dangerous ignorance. Iphigenia desired what she did not understand, and she paid the price of a life she was not prepared to live.